Welcome back, brothers and sisters. I am Braden. This is Langley Outdoors Academy, the place where we not only talk about what's going on in the gun world, but also how we're going to fix it together. And the content that I'm going to show you tonight is Tim Pool going off on the machine guns being thrown out because machine gun bans are unconstitutional. This is glorious. And while I'm about to show you this, I want you to keep in mind, Tim Pool is in that middle zone, kind of libertarian, like just leave me alone vibe. He's not insanely devoted to staunch 2A stuff. He's very 2A supportive, but that's not his main bailiwick. That's not all that he does. Our message is permeating. Guys, the things that you're about to hear are something you would hear on this channel and that you would hear on Second Legacy with me and Tim. This is glorious. Now, everything will be linked in the description box below. Full hat tip to Tim Pool for putting this together because this was off the cuff and amazing. And of course, make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn the notification bell on if you want to spread the 2A blessings on to the next generation. And thank you for that consideration. All right, guys, you got to look good because this looks good. And you know what else looks good? This shirt. This is probably one of my favorite limited time design shirts. It's just in time for election season. We've got hoodies, long sleeves, short sleeves, men's, women's. Don't miss out on this one because if and when Kamala Harris loses, this is going to be a piece of beauty right here because you're going to have this forever because you were here watching Kamala Harris do a kamikaze dive with a ban assault weapons motto dragging behind her into the ship of America as a reminder of what could have been. Guys, this is a limited time design. We are stopping selling it on September 6th, so make sure you check it out in the description box below. I'd love for you guys to get one of these. It supports the channel, and it's also a great looking shirt, and I appreciate each and every one of you guys who have grabbed the shirt so far. But with that said, let me get on to the main show and attraction. This is glorious, and I've actually got to back this up real quick, so hold on, I was getting my timestamps ready. So, as I mentioned in the earlier introduction, Tim Pool, I would love to meet him. I'd love to talk to him on some sort of camera, his show, my show. I really enjoy his approach on things, but the way that he delivered this part in particularly around machine gun bans being ruled unconstitutional and the Kansas City judge being thrown out, it was something special. Because again, remember, this is not someone who is only devoted to the 2A. This is someone who is kind of libertarian, like smaller government, just leave me alone vibe, right? As I get into this, let me hear from you in the comments on this one. Turn the volume up. Let's pop it. I've got certain times stopped. You're going to love every second of this and send this one out. Here we go.
We got this story from Vox.com. A Trump judge ruled there's a Second Amendment right to own machine guns. Based. Because there is indeed a right to own machine guns. The Supreme Court's Bruin decision will keep on creating chaos until it's overruled. And so long as Donald Trump wins, I'm just going to pause real quick. This is why I want to insult those pro-lifers who are like, if you're not pro-life, you don't get pro-life votes. Like, dude, shut your mouth. This is about more than you. The gains made from the Trump Supreme Court for all of us have been so tremendous. Why don't you go whinge somewhere else and go fundraise off something else? Trump is not going to give you a golden ticket to Willy Wonka's chocolate factory, okay? But he is going to sell chocolate, right? My point is this. You're not going to get everything you want, but the dude literally gave you a Supreme Court that overturned Roe v. Wade. Why don't you sit down and shut up and accept these massive wins? If Kamala Harris wins, our gun rights are getting taken away. She's going to pack the Supreme Court. They're going to overturn all of these decisions, and they're going to revert this country back to its hell state that it was in before Trump got these victories. Now, where was I? On Wednesday, a Trump judge in Kansas ruled...
No, sorry, I had to stop. I missed my timestamp. Okay. The reason that I want to hit that one is obviously, and you're about to see more of this, but Tim is genuinely excited about the fact that machine guns were, the ban of them was thrown out. It was not constitutional based off the Bruin decision. You're going to see all that in a second, but that's just the introduction. That's why he said based, right? Something else that he said that I really want to hit on, he addressed appropriately that Kamala Harris, not only her desires, the Democrat desires, but also what she has personally said in the past. They do want to get rid of the filibuster. They do want to abolish the not second amendment, that's a little too aggressive this quick. They do want to do assault weapons bans. They do want to, all these things. They want to do Supreme Court reform. All of this can be stopped by you guys and getting everyone you know out to vote. She can be defeated. She's very vulnerable. But he's not wrong. And that also doesn't mean that we're not going to fight like hell here and then whoever is in president afterwards. Trump, we're going to fight for the gun rights, and Kamala, we're going to fight for the gun rights. The tactics just look a little bit different. But the bottom line, he's got a point saying, look at all the great things that the SCOTUS has brought us that were brought to us by the Trump administration. He does have a valid point on this one. In this case, he mentioned Roe v. Wade, but also the Bruin decision. Okay? We've also got the Cargill decision, and we got the Looper decision. There's lots of things here. But anyway, let me keep going because I think he's onto something, and these next clips, you're going to love every second of them.
Second Amendment invalidates criminal charges against a defendant charged with illegally possessing a machine gun. In the case, United States v. Morgan. Judge John Broom's decision in Morgan is obviously wrong, even under the Supreme Court's most aggressively pro-gun opinion, which Brooms relied on heavily. Vox, are you a news outlet or an opinion outlet? Ah, that's right. They're an opinion, and you're wrong. The Supreme Court says, the Constitution says, shall not be infringed. Nowhere does it say, unless the rate of fire for the weapon exceeds, wrong. The federal government has no right to ban these weapons. And the morons in the Supreme Court, including Kavanaugh, who think they do, are wrong. Restrictions actually are allowed under the Constitution because we have a tradition, that's what they argue, a tradition of certain restrictions. Shut up. No, the right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. If you want to change it, amend the Constitution. But until then, you can't just take a dump all over our country because you don't like the rules. The Supreme Court's 2022 decision.
Yeah. How many of you feel that way and echo that exact same response? You can't just take a dump on us because you don't like the rules. If you want to change it, change the Constitution. Oh, you can't because you don't have the power, so stop playing these games. It says shall not be infringed. The reason that this is so important, guys, and I kind of hit on this a few times earlier in the introduction to this video, Tim Pool does believe in the individualized rights. I've seen lots of his content. He's always around the individual. And that is an awesome thing. But he does not solely live in the gun world. Like, he is reading the Bruin decision. He is going to read the Heller decision. He is obviously well versed in the topic. I'm not dismissing his ability or his knowledge on this point because he's actually making a very, very good argument. But the way in which he's delivering it is very important. Keep in mind, the first clip I just showed you, think about all the things that came forward from this. Think of what Kamala Harris has said she wants to do. Now, if she does or she doesn't, that's yet to be seen, depending on the makeup of the House and the Senate. But then also, he's talking directly to the infringers, saying if you want to change it, change the Second Amendment. But you can't because you don't have support. All of these things are really important because this is a mainline voice. This is not a far-right voice, okay? I want to keep on hitting on that and illustrating that. But I got two more for you. Again, it only gets better. It's going to be linked. You can watch the whole thing, but let's get it.
In the New York State Rifle and Pistol Association v. Bruin, cast a cloud of uncertainty over nearly all U.S. gun laws. Good. Requiring the government's lawyers to prove that any gun law challenged in court is consistent with this nation's historical tradition of firearm regulation. Judges across the country have struggled to interpret and apply that vague standard. And many of them have openly complained that Bruin is unworkable. Good. In their published opinions. Read in isolation, Bruin's vague historical tradition test might be read to support Broom's decision. But Bruin left in place a previous legal rule, first announced in DC v. Heller, which permits the government to ban dangerous and unusual weapons. Heller also includes a line stating that it would be startling to conclude that one of the court's early Second Amendment decisions invalidates the federal ban on machine guns, which it should. To get around Heller's conclusion, let me zoom in actually, make it easier to read. To get around Heller's conclusion, the government may regulate dangerous and unusual weapons, like fully automatic firearms. Dangerous and unusual? Extremely common, actually, until they banned them. Brooms primarily argues that there were no laws similar to the modern-day ban on machine guns, either in 18th century England or during the period around America's founding. Of course, there's a really obvious reason why no actual machine gun ban existed in the 1700s. The machine gun wasn't invented until 1884. It's the stupidest thing in the world. These people are evil.
Stupidest thing in the world, these people are evil. You can't find an exact or similar match in previous enforcement and tradition, and it's not in the text, so you can't get history, text, and tradition like the Bruin decision says. So you just make it up whole cloth. He literally just said, it's the stupidest thing in the world, and these people are evil. Any questions? Again, this is not a far-right extremist. This is a guy right in the middle. He rails on Democrats and he rails on Republicans. But he is obviously well versed in the Bruin decision. He is obviously well versed in the Heller decision. He understands our gun rights. He understands the Second Amendment, and it's very clear that even the middle is starting to receive our message and is beginning to permeate. That's the why I'm showing you this, because what you're seeing here is Tim Pool, who's a leading voice on the internet, like solid. But what's happening is the very things that are coming from our side of the fight are making it into that main line, the main vein. That's what's starting to happen. You're seeing it right here. That's why this is so important. I got one more thing. We're going to stop at 5:15. We got about 30 seconds more of one more clip, and then we're going to hit it because you're going to love this part.
Let me tell you, in the 1300s, they had multi-barrel cannons. Can I just pull this up for you guys? I'm going to pull this up. Maybe I can find a picture. Oh, look at that. Oh, okay. Let's try this one. This one. Ooh, Leonardo da Vinci drew this one. The Ribaldequin, known as a Rabald Randy Ribaldkin infernal machine or organ gun, was a late medieval volley gun with many small caliber iron barrels set up on a parallel platform, in use in medieval and early modern Europe during the Renaissance period. When the gun was fired, multiple barrels discharged their projectiles all at once, yielding a much higher rate of fire than single barrel. Now I understand, my friends, that's not a machine gun, okay? But the Founding Fathers didn't ban multi-barrel rapid-fire volley cannons, okay? The ability to fire multiple projectiles at once existed in this era, and they did not ban these. If the argument is the machine gun is easier to make, then your argument is the Founding Fathers couldn't have banned handheld machine fire or something. I'd still argue. Volley guns existed. And they actually did have, I think in the 16th century, pistols with multiple barrels. Like it's
All right, so he's going to go down a bunch more examples, but that's not the point. We've landed the plane, so to speak. All right. He just showed you something that I swear to you, me and Tim did on Second Legacy multiple times. We brought up older models from the 16th, 15th, 13th, 100, all of these different models of multiple barrels, multiple different rotating barrels. The idea that this is brand new and multiple projectiles has never been done before is a farce from the left. Even Tim Pool is jumping on the exact same arguments. The main line that I want you to take away from this is you're not alone. There's a lot more people in the middle and people who watch Tim Pool who feel the exact same way that you do. And Tim did a very good job on this, incorporating the Bruin decision, the Heller decision, the historical examples of firearms, talking about what Harris wants to do, talking about Trump's successes in the SCOTUS. He did that in a 10-minute video, and we only covered 5 of it. Very well done. Again, hat tip to Tim Pool on that one. But again, guys, the main point here is you're not alone. Our way of thinking and our way of life and our way of supporting and believing in the rights that we have is not a foreign conclusion to most of the population. But that really loud minority is really loud. Just keep that in mind. That's what they are, is a very loud minority. And that's what I've got for you guys. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Hopefully I landed that plane, and I will see you on the next one. I'm Braden. See you later.